Something just shifted and almost nobody saw it coming. Because the one guy everyone thought was chasing NASCAR's biggest stage just said something that flipped the entire narrative upside down. And yeah, it sounds crazy at first. But once you hear why, it changes everything. Cleetus McFarland just admitted he has zero desire to race in the NASCAR Cup Series. Let that sink in for a second. The same guy who looked at Cup like the ultimate goal, the dream, the finish line, is now saying he doesn't even want it. Now think about that. Why would someone walk away from the top right when their momentum is building? Here's the thing. This isn't a story about quitting. It's a story about reality hitting hard and hitting fast. And what happened behind the scenes might actually set him up for something even bigger. Because from the outside, it looked simple. Cleetus finally got his shot. But not in a simulator, not on YouTube, not watching from the stands. He lived it. He stepped into real NASCAR competition, and it didn't take long for things to get serious. Daytona was the first wake-up call. Truck Series debut, big moment, huge spotlight. And then, just like that, it was over. Lap cease. Spin, wall. Race done. Last place. And his own reaction, I'm an idiot. That wasn't PR. That was raw. That was someone realizing this isn't a game anymore. Because dreaming about Daytona and surviving Daytona are two completely different things. And Daytona doesn't give second chances when you mess up. But it didn't stop there. Rockingham made things even more complicated. Earlier that day, he looked solid in ARCA. Top 5 finish. Confidence building. You could hear it in his voice. He felt like he belonged. Like maybe, just maybe, this thing was starting to click. But then, the O'Reilly race hit, and everything changed again. Started deep in the field, fell laps down. Multiple mistakes, car getting loose, late spin, and by the end, he finished, but barely held it together. And this is where everything changes. Because after that race, he said something that explains the entire situation. I am way in over my head. Now be honest, how often do you hear someone admit that publicly? Especially in NASCAR. Especially with millions watching. But that one sentence tells you everything. This isn't about hype anymore. This is about understanding the gap, and that gap is massive. But here's what most people missed. Rockingham wasn't a failure. He survived. He didn't wreck the field. He didn't quit. He learned. And even drivers in the garage noticed. That matters more than people think. Because respect in NASCAR isn't given. It's earned on days exactly like that. Then came Talladega, and suddenly the entire conversation flipped. Started mid-pack, pushed forward, top 10. Then something nobody expected. He led laps, real laps, not lucky positioning, not chaos, actual pace. And when it came down to the final moments, he was right there, door to door, fighting for the win, finished second. Not a fluke, not survival, performance. And just like that, people started paying attention. For real this time. Because now, it wasn't just a YouTuber showing up. It was progression. It was growth. It was potential. But it gets deeper than that. Because every time he shows up, something else happens. Viewership spikes. Rockingham numbers went up. Talladega numbers jumped even higher. Now, no one's saying it's all because of him. But you can't ignore the pattern. He brings eyes. Millions of them. And NASCAR knows exactly how valuable that is. So right when everything is trending up, right when his stock is rising, right when the hype is building, he drops the statement that shocks everyone. I don't want to race Cup at all. That's terrifying to me. Now think about that again. Not maybe later. Not I'm not ready yet. Flat out no desire. And the reason? He's seen the gap. Up close. Speed. Pressure. Precision. The level required is insane. And for the first time, he's not guessing anymore. He knows. And honestly, that might be the smartest thing he said so far. Because one of the biggest criticisms around him was always the same. He's just skipping the line. Another internet guy trying to jump straight to the top. But this kills that narrative instantly. This shows awareness, respect for the sport, understanding of the grind. He's not pretending anymore. He's adjusting. He's focusing on where he actually belongs right now. And that's ARCA. That's where his best results are. That's where the competition is manageable. That's where he can build, instead of survive. So no, he's not stepping away. He's dialing in. And that leads to the moment that could change everything. Nashville. Because this isn't just another race. This is a test. A real one. NASCAR's approval committee is watching closely. And depending on what happens there, everything could shift again. We're talking approvals, opportunities, future paths opening up, maybe even full access to bigger tracks. But it all depends on one thing: performance, clean race, smart decisions, controlled aggression. If he nails it, doors open. If he struggles, things slow down. Simple as that. And Nashville matters even more because it removes the chaos factor. Daytona and Talladega, wild cards. Rockingham, massive jump in difficulty. But Nashville, that's a cleaner test of skill. No excuse, no randomness, just execution. So if he performs there, now the conversation gets serious, really serious. And this is where the long-term picture starts forming. Because quietly, he's already hinted at something bigger. Not Cup, not even necessarily Xfinity full-time. ARCA, full season. Now think about that move. Seat time, consistency, experience. That's how real drivers are built. Not shortcuts, not hype, reps. And if he commits to that, everything changes. He stops being a guest and becomes part of the story. But there's still a question hanging over all of this. Time, commitment, his content empire. Running a full season isn't easy. It's demanding. It's expensive. It's all-consuming. So nothing is guaranteed yet. Which brings us right back to Nashville. Because that race might decide the pace of everything. Bad result? Slow it down. Good result? Accelerate the plan. And that's the real story here. Not the headline. Not the shock quote. The shift. Cleetus McFarland isn't chasing Cup. He's chasing something way more important. Control. Growth. A real foundation. And ironically, that mindset might be the exact reason he lasts longer than people expected. Because the drivers who survive in NASCAR know exactly where they stand. So now, the question flips to you. Does Nashville become the moment that changes everything? Or is this still just the beginning of a much longer road? And be real. Would you rather see him go all in on ARCA first? Or take another risk at a higher level already?